With the holiday season upon us, let's sit down together by the fire with a glass of mulled wine and reflect back on our year together. Hello everyone. It's been quite an incredible year for me and for Tacticus, and I wanted to look back a little over the time we've spent together to talk a little bit about why I started on this journey doing content creation, how we make our videos, and where I am right now in Tacticus. So why did I start doing this? Well, for my whole life, I've been a hard worker. It's something that's instilled in me right from my early years, as my father was a fisherman and my mother was an upholsterer. They were both very hard-working people, came from hard-working families, and so that was instilled into me too. As I moved from school to university to a career, I kept that hard-working part going, but there was always a side of me that wasn't fully satisfied with just working, and it made things very tough for me as I got really frustrated at the lack of diversity in whatever job I was doing. I always wanted to be doing more, and this annoyed a fair amount of people along the way as they saw me either as a threat or just as being arrogant with taking over more and more responsibility. I definitely got burnt badly a few times with my own ambition to do more and the desire to please my bosses, and so it always felt like I was missing a piece of the puzzle. That led me into pretty dark places in life as I kept spiraling into depression and being pretty frustrating to my colleagues, friends and family. This was even more visible during the winter months as I suffered from a seasonal affective disorder. So after another moment of dissatisfaction and disappointment with a company, I decided it was time to take control of the situation and ask for help. From there, I started a long journey of mental and physical improvements that brought me here today to be sitting talking to you. I started looking for therapy. I stumbled across an amazing therapist that specialized in somatic experiencing. This is usually used for the effects of post-traumatic stress disorder. It's a super interesting therapy as it works by helping you to explore what your body is doing in moments of stress instead of working with the mind. I also got a gym trainer that would help me get into better shape physically, and the journey really started there. It's been years since I started, and the most incredible thing is that I now have a new company I work with, one that makes me really happy, and that's because I added something into my life 6 months ago, and that was all of you. This hobby has given me a platform for my excess energy and creativity and has been such a wonderful outlet of learning and enjoyment. However, I would never have had the courage without having someone there to help me mentally and physically. So if you're struggling, if you're feeling lost this winter, then use whatever energy you have to set yourself a goal and go and talk to a therapist. The fact you're watching this video is living proof that they work, because I couldn't have done it without the help. And there is some more help I get on these videos. I have a wonderful creative director who's been my best friend for the last 20 years, and we've pushed each other to do better and better on each video, and that's why they constantly improve. It helps to have someone out there to call out what we can do better. But before we started, we had no idea just how much work it was to produce a video, and so we're going to dive into that next, because it's a fair bit more work than you might think. The starting point for our videos was actually 3 months of work that I did between jobs on my Google Sheets planner. When I started playing Tacticus, I was all over the place with no structure or real plan. I was leveling characters here, there and everywhere, and this was a bit uncomfortable for me because I always like to have clear goals, structure and a clear reminder of what's needed. So I looked around at the tools available and found Nandy's legendary sheet planner, which was an incredible resource, but was quite limited in some ways compared to what I wanted to do. So I started working on my own 2 sheets, one for legendary events and one which was working out how long it takes to level people. Over the next few months, I slowly added to each sheet and got them into a place where I was happy. And then around this time, I had a desire to do content creation focused around my real life career, because I had a lot to say there. So I started with Tacticus to learn how it all works, but actually in the end, I've had so much fun doing this with Tacticus that I've shelved all those other plans, and right now I'm happily making content for all of you. So the first thing we do each month is look at the calendars that developer Snowprint shares with us, and from there we build a plan for the month, starting with the usual series that we've designed, which are focused around beginner guides, character releases, legendary events and prize giveaways. However, even with all that content, it isn't quite enough to fill the months, and so the idea to start weaving little stories and adverts through our videos were born. From there, Castell and Creed and Vindicta were brought to life, and we'll continue to see more characters from Tacticus join in the ranks this year. Our videos are created using HitFilm Express, although I just upgraded to HitFilm Pro, and this is an interesting tool that allows us to bring video and audio together in a really lovely way. It has a bit of a learning learning curve for sure, but we're getting faster and faster with it, and I couldn't imagine doing it without this. But before we even start adding anything into HitFilm, I begin by writing a script, and you can see the one that I'm using today's video being written right now. It has each section split into pieces and also has a summary at the top that will eventually become the description in YouTube. Once I've finished writing, I will record my voice using a software called OBS Studio, and this has some really great functionalities to make my voice stay at a similar level and to cut out lots of background noise. Then we start to get into the fun stuff. I obviously use AI a lot for my characters, and as the AI avatar, Jace, who stands in for me in videos. I couldn't create the amazing artwork by myself, and so I use a tool called Midjourney to help me create them. The release of Midjourney version 6 this week has helped me create even more lifelike pictures of Jace, and that will just keep getting better and better. It really is an amazing and scary to think where we'll be in a year with AI, or even longer. The other two main AI tools I use alongside Midjourney are StudioDID.com and 11labs.io. StudioDID.com allows me to animate the faces of the Midjourney characters that I create, and then 11labs.io allows me to add voices to them. You might have noticed that Castellan's voice changed in the last video. This is because the website actually deleted his old voice, so I have to be flexible with my use of these for sure, but the software there is pretty amazing at creating realistic sounding voices. These three tools are the ones I pay for, and it comes to around €30 a month. Everything else can be done for free. And speaking of free, the following tools are the ones that I use that are free and are absolutely amazing. If I want to use stock photos or music, I'll often check out Pixabay, which is a super source of really high quality stuff you can use. If I ever need to tweak those graphics, I'll use GIMP, which is basically a free alternative to Photoshop, with all the features you can imagine needing, although with a little bit of a higher learning curve. When I'm editing audio, I'll sometimes use Audacity to help clean up the audio or add silences just before I send it to be animated, and it's a very simple little program that comes in very handy. When I'm creating my thumbnails for YouTube, I use canva.com, which allows me to quickly knock something together and have this consistent look that I've managed to pull through all my videos. If you want to use some amazing VFX, check out Footage Crate. They have tons of amazing little VFX loops that can be added to the videos and really help to bring up the quality levels. Finally, the last place I should mention is that YouTube themselves allow you to use a ton of really cool music, and most of my music actually comes from there. So once I've written my script, recorded it, played around with all these tools, guess how long it takes to make a video? Well, it's about 1 hour for each minute of video, and on top of that, it takes us around 1 to 3 hours to learn a new tool or to build new graphics or techniques from the beginning. Of course, some will actually take a lot longer than that, but that's a pretty good rough guide. So when you're watching these, definitely think about the time that it took to bring it to your screen. It's a chunk of work, but I do it for you so that you can have something to accompany your Tacticus experience. And talking about Tacticus, how am I doing there? Well, I've been on a long road personally to get my team into a pretty diverse place so that I can do legendary events. I currently have 4 characters at Gold 3, 4 at Gold 2, 23 at Gold 1. Brother Butcher, Onshi and Maladis will also be Gold 1 soon, and then the rest are maxed at Silver 1 or below. I have all characters opened except Morven Val, Castellan Creed, Typhus and Vitruvius, although I should get Vitruvius in the legendary event pretty soon. And my goals are currently to bring all the characters to Gold while pushing some of them to Diamond. After that, I honestly have no idea what I'm going to do. I think that the developers Snowprint need to bring in some new content for us to play with, and I'm really looking forward to see what they do with the game this year. And what I wanted to ask you is, if you could have a New Year's wish for Tacticus, what would it be? What could they add to the game to keep it fresh and interesting for the coming year? And that's everything for today. If you want to know how to support my channel, then all I can ask is that you allow the adverts to run when you watch the video, hit subscribe, and definitely like the video. Throw me a comment every now and again, and all of this helps us to pay for the tools that we use and bring you better quality videos as we go. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and let me know all your thoughts down below.